Ahoy mateys, and welcome to the round 2 front 9 of the Down East Players Cup. This is Gatekeeper Media's production of the MPO lead card, and we are at the East Carolina University North Recreational Campus course. I'm Andrew Fish, joined here by Nick Hanson.
Hey folks, how we doing today? It's a great day for disc golf.
So this may be the first time folks have seen this course on coverage. It's a little bit of a chopped up layout from the standard, and I think it's a really exciting course.
Fun course, good shots, different shots. Not too technical, but it is a little longer, I feel like, than the other course.
Yeah, around 8,400 feet or so. And you see that there's a really big pack of competitive players here. Dan Hastings, Ian Burchett, Paul Oman, and AJ Carey are our card today, but a lot of folks in contention right behind them. Dan Hastings, sponsored by Discraft. Dan is one of the best putters I know of. He is very streaky. When he gets on a roll, he can make it rain from anywhere. And solid forehand, solid backhand.
Yeah, up next we have Ian Burchett, Castaplast sponsored player. He is from Oswego, Illinois. Great up-and-comer. He travels with the Castaplast boys, and I'm excited to see him throw probably some big shots today out here.
For sure. Little guy, huge power. Paul Oman, huge guy, huge power. There's a lot of Paul Oman, big personality, and very funny. I really like how deliberate his run-up is. I feel like that enables him to just like lock in on his target.
And our last competitor of our lead card today is AJ Carey, Innova-sponsored player, known to the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Also a smaller in height gentleman, but bombs very far as well.
Absolutely. Just shows that disc golf is all shapes, all sizes, and for everybody. Hole 1, what are we looking at, Nick?
Yeah, hole 1 is a good hole to get people started off with. 345-foot hyzer. Most of the players here are expecting to get their birdie. Really, you're just trying to skip into this green and have a tap in to start.
Yeah, and a really big narrative. You can already hear the wind blowing. It was a pretty solid right to left here, so you got to give a lot of width. And Dan gets a nice little check off the tree and not a whole lot of ground play. It's going to be skippy as well.
Yeah, just like the other course, you have those pine needles to worry about, whereas sometimes it's going to send your disc 100 feet, and sometimes you're going to hit the sand right after it and not go anywhere.
For sure. Ian goes very overstable, but that's pretty inside. The thing about this hole is,
What a kick to start.
Sure. Half as far as he should be. This hole is so open that the only danger comes in the last, 40 or 50 feet. Everyone's going to have a putt at this if they've thrown a reasonably competitive shot. Paul, good adjustment on the width. If he gets one good skip, he should be right there.
Right there he
Let
is.
it be so, yeah.
That's how I personally like to get my birdies out of the way.
AJ Carey rocking the hibiscus shirt. And that should be fine. Gets to the backside. That's more than fine.
Oh, let's go. Another good one inside the bullseye to start the day.
Dan, very direct putt. High in the chains. In for bird. All right, very nice. And I imagine the other two will have no problem cleaning up here.
Starting a star frame here for our lead card. Not really surprised on this hole.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. There's going to be a lot of par 3s out here that are very gettable, but also very fourable. You can kind of get yourself in trouble with some strategic elevation, trees around the basket. I feel like they've done a really nice job on this course, making it appropriate for all skill levels.
And here we are at hole 2. 336 feet. It's a par 3. It's going to be straight with a little bit of a right finish, but if you throw a dead straight shot, you're going to find yourself inside the circle.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of a low ceiling, and this is going to play into a slight headwind. You see Dan's forehand grip. It's one finger, which is a little bit unusual, but nonetheless effective.
Yeah, I would say most players throw the 2-finger stack. Is that what you do?
Yeah, some variation of that. Ian, if that gets back to Heiser, it can run. Wow.
Run it does, fish.
Yeah. When I was out here on Thursday getting a practice round in, there was one of the maintenance crew guys on a large tractor with the largest leaf blower I've ever seen attached to the back of it. And they were blowing off all of the fairways. And you see how like immaculately maintained this is.
This is a wonderful property overall. Lots of things to do here at the North Recreational Center.
Yeah, it's really neat. ECU is not a huge school, but it's astonishing that they have like 12 full soccer fields and like this dedicated disc golf space. I'm not telling you to go sign up to go to East Carolina, but you could do worse if you're looking to get outdoor recreation.
Great shot by AJ Carey, finding himself inside the bullseye. Oh, Paul just a little bit outside there. Unfortunately, that one's not going to stick.
Dan in no trouble. Everyone else looking for, their 10-footers as well.
Getting a couple tap-in birdies early can really get the round going for these guys.
Yeah, no doubt. Did you have a number that you were looking at on this course?
I didn't have a number just because I only played it one time. And
Okay.
so I didn't really want to think of a number as, I was still learning shots.
Yeah, you and I got to play together yesterday, and our card, I don't think we had a single out of bounds. There's out of bounds is in play in theory, but it's not really that demanding.
Yeah. Here we are at hole 3, 364 feet par 3. This one does have OB on the very back side. Most players will not get there though, as you're really trying to get it on that hillside to have a good putt. Otherwise, with this wind, most people I think might lay up.
Yeah, and the wind is such that 25 footers are no longer a very playable thing, especially with this elevated green. Like you kind of want to be inside 25 or outside 50 so that your choice is easy.
Right. He got a quite unfortunate roll there.
Yeah, the wind here is going to play from left to right. Dan maybe exposed the Heiser angle a little too early, and the disc just kind of ran on him. Ian using a lot of ceiling here. And yeah, you want to see the face of the disc again. If you do that and you're on the hill, 20-footer max.
You're going to be happy with that.
AJ slight Anheuser shape. And if this will fight back for him. Uh-oh.
Getting a little deep there.
Yeah, hard to tell exactly how far, but appears to be in bounds.
I found myself on that backside as well, about 25 feet, having that sketchy putt you talked about.
And Paul doesn't quite get it over. That has to be an automatic layup, right?
I would think so. I mean, I would be laying that up from there.
Responsible by Dan. He doesn't seem too thrilled by it.
Yeah, he got himself on that low side of the hill. Still going to have a hard putt from there.
All right.
As you can see, the wind's down with the flag there, but AJ still lays up.
Yeah, no kidding. And it was pretty gusty, pretty swirly yesterday. Dan with a pretty deliberate, but you see how hard he fires it in there. Dan is a really, really solid putter. And have you heard the legend of his great day in Chapel Hill a couple years ago?
I've not.
Okay. Dan shot 2 rounds that averaged over 1,100 for the day.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. When homeboy gets on a roll, he can make stuff happen.
Wow, that's incredible. Here we are at hole 4. 594-foot par 4. If you can get past this tee pad here and get into this lane, you're going to have a look to get up and down for birdie. Most of our pros here today are going to want to get birdie on this one. One of the easier par 4s.
Yeah, absolutely. Tee shot's going to be into a headwind, but this is kind of a combo hole from the original layout. Anything that pushes like near that hill where another tee pad is should have an opportunity to get to the basket.
And I should say there is OB on the right and left side. However, I would think that our players won't have any trouble with that.
Yeah, you just trust the stability out to the right and let your disc swing back.
Getting a little deep pad skip there. That's looking really good as well.
Yeah, I like that. It might be a little short towards the inside corner. Appears to be safe, no problem. You see how well Paul just loads up that front side.
Yeah, very unique form, but works very well for him.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Pretty good lane into the basket because Ian is near the hill that the standard tee pad is on. And fights up. I might have gone through some stuff, but he's well inside the circle now. Yeah, Dan, a little bit of a dead skip. Nicely done by Paul.
Around this basket, the pine needles are almost so deep that they don't really skip off them much like they do on other places on the course.
Yeah. I kind of observed that on my own upshot.
Whereas as we've seen on the other course, and we'll see on this course that sometimes they skip pretty far, but not an inch or two of pine needles here.
Wow. Dan able to squeak it in. Nicely done.
Get a replay there and just jumps right up and in.
Mm-hmm.
Getting back on that birdie train. It looks like you could be starting to have one of those rounds you talked about. 3 down through 4.
It's possible. I mean, this is the scoring part. There's a few holes later that are going to play into a more direct headwind and are like more technical lines to work with. That's rough.
Little right, little outside, unfortunately. He's going to want that one back, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. No. Ian's really been grinding it out on tour this year, which is pretty impressive. Like when you're young and just starting on the road, like you have to fight for everything. And every event that I've been to, I see Ian out there, practice putting, getting extra reps in.
Discover Greenville, North Carolina, where we put whole hog Q on the map and inspiration lives on every corner. Unplug for a moment of tranquility or enjoy one of our parks, fields, greenways, or trails. Then recharge with fresh, local flavors, one-of-a-kind art galleries, and toe-tapping music. North Carolina's Emerald City is filled with countless hidden gems. Find yours in Greenville, North Carolina.
All right, and here we are at hole 5, 310-foot par 3. You're going to have a tunnel here and a mando there on the left that you have to go right of, protecting another fairway. Another one where the green is on a little mound and OB wraps all the way around. So although it is a shorter hole, it's going to be pretty hard to get your birdie unless you're on that mound.
Yeah, absolutely. Forehand and backhand both in play here. Dan, starting with the forehand. If this digs in the sand, which it will, he's in great shape.
Flex and just fucking grabs.
I saw that little plug for Greenville, North Carolina. Really appreciate what they've done for the local disc golf organization here. ECU has been so supportive of making this course and tournament a possibility. And then Greenville Rec and Parks at the Meadow course, doing a really good job. And from talking to tournament director Max Krotz, it sounds like there's interest in eventually being able to draw a major or other large events.
Yeah, they have the facilities out here with multiple courses, and I think some of these courses could be even a little tougher if they wanted.
Yeah, and potentially others in development. We'll see.
And there's a great shot. I thought that was maybe going to roll off the backside, but circles up, and he's going to be tapping in for birdie there.
Interested to see that Paul appeared to be going for kind of a right side flex shot. I'm not sure I had really considered that as a viable possibility.
Personally, I didn't either. Kevin Kiefer actually threw that on our card.
I think he just missed on a turnover shot.
No, he throws that route.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a tester for sure. Wow. That's big. There's OB 9 feet behind that basket, and he's
What
putting
a
into a stiff crosswind.
Putt. That is savage. It never left that line, stayed nose up the entire way, right in the chains.
Yeah. If I scrolled Paul's PDGA page correctly, it doesn't look like he's ever won an A tier. So putts like that shows he's hungry.
Yeah, he's ready. He's a very good player.
Mm-hmm. And I saw that he's signed up next weekend for the Pumpkin Shootout in Indiana, which was actually his first, the anniversary of his first tournament 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right, hole 6, 242-foot par 3. It's going to be a left to right moving shot. Most players are going to want to find themselves inside the circle off the tee on this one. There is a light bit of trouble, but should really be able to get your birdie here.
Yeah, by far the shortest hole on the course.
One of the more technical, you could say, but players still want to be inside the circle.
Yeah. The wind was a real challenge, though. Just kind of wants to knock down any shot that's at this angle.
Yeah, with that left or that right to left pushing wind, kind of pushing the disc across the fairway when you're trying to get back to the right.
Little sneak for Ian, but still there. AJ to the backhand. I think the disc was a little slow and low. And Paul with great height. Nicely done. You see that he just like let the disc drift instead of trying to force it over.
Yeah, he really played with the wind and not against it.
Mm-hmm. Ian in for birdie. He just moved to Virginia along with his family. I imagine that'll give him a lot more access to winter golf.
Yeah.
Rather than being in Illinois, huh?
Right. And Dan just a little high there. Uncharacteristic like we've seen so far.
Yeah, that's one he'll want back. He's got a couple in the bank right now.
But 240-foot hole, you put yourself inside the circle, you're expecting a birdie.
That's a hard thing to manage. Like, when you play this course in practice, every hole seems gettable. But in a tournament, there's a little bit different pressure. The pacing is off. And, the conditions aren't exactly what you worked on.
I agree. Hole 7 is a 708-foot par 4. You're going to have to hit this gap here to get out. Once you're on the field, you still have some trees to navigate to get to the green. I prefer getting all the way to the left side of the fairway to then have a sidearm in. But there are a couple different routes we'll see here.
Yeah, another combo hole of 2 standard course holes. Plenty of distance there. That access is the left side you're talking about.
Yeah, that's a big hyzer to get over there.
Wow, just enough flip up. And Paul should be on the right side, which I imagine he'll like better as a backhand player. Dan smokes a flip up shot.
Thank you.
And right in between those two, he'll have options. I think.
I was going to say, yeah, a little turned over out of the hand there, it looked like.
Yeah, this tree is the biggest no-no on the hole. Pretty low ceiling, hard to get full power out of it. AJ does very well.
That was an incredible out from under there.
No doubt.
He might be in circle 2.
I don't think quite that far.
Really?
Paul, wide hyzer. This is a little bit of a plinko route. And there's your circle 2.
He's going to be deep.
Wow. You make the camera guy turn around.
Yeah.
You want to do that on your drive, usually not the approach.
Correct. Oh, and he's going to catch that tree we can't see there. Just get hung up.
And the forehand is definitely the more open route, but I found that with the crosswind, it seemed like it was making it very difficult to get like right movement after the skip.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to kind of just skip forward.
Yeah, so you see Ian get the distance, but now he's left with a headwind putt. AJ somewhere between a bid and a layup. No harm, no foul. This was one of the harder holes on the day. I think both shots are pretty technical. Even with the tailwind, it's hard to get yourself in a very makeable spot.
Paul giving it a bid from back there. He'll find himself in the circle still, though.
And not a very competitive putt there.
Yeah, he kind of looked at his hand right away. Maybe it got stuck or something to a finger, but you need to have those putts thrown in.
Oh, yeah.
Up there.
When you have one of those putts that's just like nothing felt right about it, how do you shake it off?
Just act like it didn't happen. Just tell myself, I was like, oh, that one hit the band and kicked.
Sure, okay.
All right, hole number 8, 347-foot par 3. The drone is flying the left to right moving shot, big sidearm, lefty backhand, but there is also a hyzer line for the righty backhand. So I'm curious to see what our players take today.
Yeah, I would be surprised if at least Paul goes to the right side. The wind was very favorable for that, and it was kind of hard to get all the way right with the forehand. You can actually get into the long spot. That's impressive.
That's a great forehand. Once again, with this wind, though, it's just hard to get back right far enough, too.
Yeah, I think Dan is doing what you sort of have to, like starting the disc on hyzer.
Yeah, and playing that aggressive skip, but as you see, it skipped early there, so he's going to be well short of the basket.
Mm-hmm. AJ, very powerful shot. I've always been impressed with his forehand. Like, when he first kind of jumped onto the pro scene after winning Am Worlds in 2017, it seemed like he was, backhands and jump putts, but he's developed a very well-rounded game.
And Paul going with this backhand, finding himself probably outside the circle over there.
Yeah. Tailwind putt, though.
On a day like today, are you trying to play for tailwind putts in your game plan, or are you just sticking to the game plan and taking what you get?
When it's possible. Certainly on like shorter approaches, or when I have the option to get to the tailwind side, I will. But there are some holes that are hard enough you can't be picky about where you land.
Oh, good bid for me in there, just a little high.
So this card going over on hole 8.
One of the harder holes on the day, though, when it shouldn't be, because of the wind.
Yeah, if there's no wind, this is a pretty cakey hole.
Start par here. And we're on to hole 9. Hole 9 is an 847-foot par 4. Players are going to be throwing a very long shot off the tee to just try and get as much distance as possible. Your second shot is a little bit lucky, I would say, but you can get up there with a hard shot that then skips and flares significantly left on the right-hand backhand.
Yeah, this is almost going to score like a par 4.5, even 5. I think there were only 3 threes on the day. Tailwind drive, a little bit of left to right drag. Does Ian throw far?
He smoked that one. Are you kidding me? What a mash.
Getting all that distance and holding to the right might mean that he has a pretty viable approach in. Dan goes more of a hyzer flip look, and I think this is going to, well, it holds. It holds very nicely. He'll run a little bit more left.
Yeah, I would say Ian is in the ideal landing spot, but 95% of the people can't throw it there.
I can't.
I'm not getting there.
AJ starts it more left. He's going to drag back at the end, and that kind of accesses a second fairway.
Yeah, that's more of the where I've tried to play it, is to that left side to then have a sidearm in.
Mm-hmm. Little bit of a goofy gap over there.
Yeah.
And Paul can't seem like he's, or it doesn't seem like he's getting a good release point right now. Forced to go with a roller.
Not a bad play from back there to try and get as much distance as possible.
It's still rolling.
wow.
That's a great scramble opportunity now.
He's got a good chance to get up and down for his par, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Dan's going to have to throw a pretty wild skip shot after hitting a gap.
What kind of skip was that?
And from there, you just can't get left enough.
Right. Yeah, he needed to land probably another, 150 feet and then start skipping.
Yeah, but pinned up on that tree. AJ taking the forehand route you anticipated.
Right. And as you can see, there's just a wall of trees you've got to get through. I mean, it's gap after gap going that way.
Mm-hmm. The bones of this hole are really, really solid. I think it's one of the more interesting tee shots on the course. And this is the first time that this layout has been used in tournament play. And I feel like with a couple minor adjustments, it's going to be, one of the best par fours at this tournament.
Yeah, it's a very good hole to, force you to throw good shots to get a birdie.
Paul attempts a little sneaky gap, unable to convert. And well done to use the stability there.
Ian just poking one through there and getting himself inside the circle. Great approach.
Love to see that touch.
It's a good par bid.
Yeah. Kind of an old school shot to play the stall. AJ slams it in there. Perhaps harder than desired, but have to counter the headwind. All right, that's going to wrap up our front nine here. Got 9 more holes to go, and the back I think is a little bit more scoreable than the front. So Ian and Dan and AJ currently all under par for the round, moving in good shape, especially with their hot starts in round 1.
Yeah, heading in the right direction. We do have some good scores coming up the leaderboard here from Matt Thompson and Evan Smith. So we'll see how they continue to play on the back nine.
Absolutely. Thank y'all so much for watching. We hope that you'll join us on the back. For Gatekeeper Media, I'm Andrew Fish.
And I'm Nick Hanson. Like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the back nine.